Week of the regular season for Tiffin University football this fall campaign 2013. Let's thank our sponsors for bringing you this program today. Those sponsors include the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, and the CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office. They are our title sponsors. Other sponsors include Steyer Seeds, Tiffin Ace Hardware, Ralph's Joy of Living, Marco's Pizza, the Pioneer Mill Restaurant, Seneca Hills Golf Club, and State Farm Insurance, as well as Viewpoint Graphics. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good.
So, final week of the regular season. It's,
hard to believe.
Oh,
it is.
My gosh.
It's hard to believe.
Is it just like everything else in life? Every year it seems like it goes by a little bit faster?
Yeah, especially this year. This has been a real fast year. It seems like just the other day it was Christmas and it turned 2013. And we were anxious to get out on the road recruiting, and well, here we are again.
So we're going to review the game at Ashland. We're going to preview our final regular season game at Lake Erie. We're going to have a couple of your student athletes on the show with us today, too. Who's coming on?
We're going to have Dustin Craig, our starting center, come on the show, and then Brandon Knight, one of our special team kickers.
All right, well, let's get into it. Dragons went to Ashland for a road test this past Saturday to take on the Eagles. And Ashland, they run the ball well. Anthony Taylor's a very good running back. Their freshman quarterback, Trayvon Chapman, had a pretty decent game as well. But, you guys were right there, early going. Ashland was first one on the scoreboard, 11:08 into the ball game. At the first quarter, Anthony Taylor, a 1-yard touchdown run after a 6-play, 54-yard drive, taking 2:38 out the clock, and the Dragons down 7-0 early in the ball game.
Yeah, I tell you what, it seems like we haven't won the coin toss all year. As I think a third straight weekend where we had a very, very windy
Oh,
day.
My goodness, it was.
And it was our plans to defer, take the win to start the game, and get the ball, in the second half. But, they did the same thing. They won the coin toss and did the exact same thing. So, we kind of we got into a short yard situation right there at midfield on that first drive, and thought about going for it right there. We did. If we punted, I was worried about the ball coming right back into our face.
Yeah, it was strong.
And, we really just missed a hole right there because we had the first down. Our running back just missed the hole right there. And, we're talking to him a lot about on 3rd and short or 4th and short, you don't have time to dance.
No.
You must hit the hole you're supposed to hit and create the yardage if you have to. And we failed to do that right there. So, defense, took over right there at midfield, and they put together a good drive right there. And I kind of saw right there that we might be in a little bit of a long day as far as the running game because they exploited us right there early, and they did a good job all day running the football between the tackles, and we didn't have an answer for that.
Well, in the first quarter, you mentioned your team. You guys crossed midfield on an opening drive. You guys were moving the ball in the first quarter. You kept every drive was getting into Ashland field in the side of the 50-yard line, but just weren't able to capitalize on much of it.
Yeah, the tempo we played with, we simplified some things for the quarterback. We called part of the game for him from the sideline to kind of maybe ease it for him. But, we challenged the offensive line last week, and because we knew we were going against a very talented defensive line.
Sure.
And a little bit of a different defensive line than what we'd seen in the previous weeks because they were big and strong, not as maybe athletic as Ohio Dominican's defensive line. So, we challenged the guys up front, and I thought they really did a good job overall.
Yeah.
Now, we had some ill-advised penalties that we could have done without that stalled out on some drives. But, really right there in the first quarter, I was happy offensively because we were moving the ball up and down the field. Yeah,
and we talked about last week's show, and you just mentioned that they're a very talented defensive line. But your offensive line did do a good job of creating pockets for the quarterback. But as you said, a couple ill-timed penalties really was the downfall of the offense on their drives.
And if you're not a very veteran offense, it's hard to overcome 1st and 15.
Yes, it is.
2nd and 11.
Yeah. You're
just not going to do that on a regular basis. But with that being said, our 3rd down conversion, Saturday was a lot better than it had been in the previous 2 weeks. So.
Well, as I said, Ashland scored on they had the first score of the ball game, Anthony Taylor's 1-yard run. Then at the 6:25 mark, also at the first quarter, Ashland on the board again. Dan Pico, a 28-yard touchdown pass from Trayvon Chapman after a 6-play, 90-yard drive, 2:51 on the clock, and now you're down 2 scores of 14-0.
Yeah. Well, we answered. We got the ball back, and next series we went the length of the field, and I thought Pipkin made some really nice plays right there and got out of a bind. They had us in the backfield. He spun about 3 times, which as a coach you're not very happy with. You sit there and cringe because you don't know what's going to happen. But, he made some big plays on that drive right there. And then we capped it off, a little play-action pass and finding Torrey Nicholson in the end zone.
It seemed like Antonio Pipkin on this ball game, when he did decide to scramble, maybe he made his mind up a little bit earlier. Maybe he was a little bit more aggressive, and really seemed like his scrambling ability was a lot more productive this past game than games previous.
Yeah, I think he was more decisive on some of those decisions when, all right, I feel the pocket, shrinking. It's time for me to get out and keep my eyes down the field or make something happen. And then I think part of it, too, is, Ashland's defensive line. They're big, real strong guys. The Meter kid, yeah, he might be one of the strongest guys to enter the draft this year. For all we know. But we did a good job of running away from him all day because we were worried about, blocking him.
Yeah.
And then, I think, Pipkin was just more athletic than their front. So he was able to get away from that first wave of defenders and get back into the, secondary a little bit and make some things happen.
Yeah, Torian Nicholson catching a touchdown pass. He probably hasn't done that much in his career.
No, he probably has. But it was good to see Torian score. He's been hurt the majority of the year.
Yeah. Big, strong kid.
He is a strong kid. He's a senior for us. So, good to see him get in the end zone. And then, hopefully he's got a big game for us this weekend, too.
Well, it's a big drive, 12 plays, 67 yards. You like to see those long drives out of your offense.
Oh, without a doubt. And again, I think we overcame a penalty in that drive, too. And, stop making it hard on ourselves. Let's make it a little bit easier.
Well, 7 penalties in the first half for 52 yards. That's a tough to overcome.
Yeah, it is. And, some of the penalties, is part of the game where they call a pass interference against us, or they call a hold. That's here or there. You can call them probably on any play. But the things I was most upset about was the false starts.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be having false starts, especially this time of the season.
Yeah.
And with that said, we did freeze them a little bit to see what they were doing on defense and make our calls from there. But that's the penalties right there that just kind of upsets you because it's just a bad mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch the ball; it's right in front of you.
Yeah, well, we mentioned that during the broadcast as well. Like you said, at this time of year, it's just frustrating because those are more the mental mistakes over the physical mistakes.
Yeah, and it's funny. We just finished practice, and I talked to one of our offensive linemen who had a couple of those, and I said, hey, what was the problem? Could you not hear the snap count? Was days he goes, Coach, I was just anxious because we talked about winning the line of scrimmage and firing off the ball, and I was just anxious and. It won't happen again, Coach. I'm sitting there pulling my hair going, oh, gosh. It happened 5 times too many Saturday.
Yeah, well, you can't fault the excitement, but it is, it is what it is. It's still a penalty, absolutely. Well, Ashland scored the only other touchdown of the first half. Anthony Taylor, again, the talented running back, a 1-yard run after a 10-play, 93-yard drive, taking 4:35 off the clock. And then the final 10 minutes of the second half, the second quarter, both teams kind of played to a stalemate there, just kind of going back up and down the field a little bit.
Yeah, we missed an opportunity there. The next drive after we scored, we drove the length of the field again, and we had a change of quarters right there, and the team comes over, and I tell Pipkin, I was like, look, the safety's going to jump the route right here. We need to make this adjustment, and it should be an easy score. And we couldn't have drawn it up any better. The only problem is, he tried to hammer the throw in there rather than put a little bit of touch on it. And because he threw it flat and threw it really hard, the linebacker just got his finger on it, tipped it up. The safety ended up catching it. But I saw it at the game, but then watched film. Tyler Jones is in the back of the end zone all by himself. All he had to do was put a little bit of air on that throw right there. And that's – the touch is something that a quarterback's got to learn. He's got a cannon for the arm. He likes to use it, and at times it's perfect, but at other times you can't throw the rocket in there. You got to throw a touch pass rather than, showing off the arm strength.
It's kind of difficult in a game like this past Saturday as well, too, because if you really got some air underneath it, boy, the wind was playing havoc, knocking those passes down. We saw it a couple times where a receiver maybe had to step on a defensive back, but the wind would hold that up. So, it's a touchy situation.
It is, but right there, I think we were on like the 15, 16-yard line. You can't put too much air on it there. But, it's, again, a throw he wishes he had back. It's a throw that we watch on film. We talk about, hey, look, you got to learn from this. You can't make this mistake because that right there is a touchdown. And, Tyler Jones could have fair caught the ball in the end zone is how open he was. But that would have made it a 14-14 game right there. And going into halftime 14-14 is a lot different than 21-7 and we haven't stopped him at all on defense yet. So.
Yeah. Well, with all that being said, he's still able to get 159 yards of passing in the first half. Tyler Jones had a very productive first half. He had a very productive game as well.
He did.
But I think he was our Marco's Pizza offensive player of the game. And 6 catches for 76 yards in that first half. And Oliver Cyprian, again, contributing on the offensive side with 32 yards leading on the ground in the first half.
Yeah. I think Oliver and Jerry have kind of become a pretty good 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to get Jerry just to play downhill a lot more and play mad, and he was mad after we told him he missed the hole right there. And, but Oliver brings another element to the game right there out of the backfield, just because he's so shifty and he's a small guy. He's hard to see behind the offensive line. So we'll probably continue using both of them in that that type of situation. And Oliver's just going to get a little bit better with his reps because really, he hasn't played a whole lot for us this year.
Yeah, and then Brandon Person was all over the place in that first half as well. He had a couple big hits on him too.
Yeah, Brandon to have 15 tackles again, I think for the second week. I mean, he's very active up there, and I need the other 10 guys to play as hard as he did right there.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and step aside and take a break, Coach. Here, and we'll come back. We'll talk briefly about the second half action, and we'll preview the final week of the regular season. Hard to believe. This Saturday, 1 o'clock kickoff, our last Saturday kickoff of the fall campaign. It's really hard to believe and fascinating that it's done already. But let's step aside, take a break, and we'll come back with our second segment of the Gary Goff Show. Then we'll bring on some student athletes. So stick around. You are watching the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network. Welcome back to the Gary Goff Show here on the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network. Hello to our fans watching on YouTube as well as Channel 10 here in Tiffin. So Dragons down a couple scores at the half, going into the halftime and make your adjustments and come out. And the Dragons held off the scoreboard in the third quarter, but able to crack the scoreboard at the 12:44 mark of the fourth quarter. After a 8-play, 78-yard drive, Antonio Pipkin goes in from 4 yards out to get the Dragons. Make you feel like you're getting back into it a little bit, but still got some work to do.
A little bit, but obviously the staff and myself were very concerned because we didn't stop the run.
Yeah.
And they were cutting back a lot and washing our defensive line down, and then cutting off the backside linebacker, and running back kept pressing the front side and then cutting it back, and we really just didn't have an answer for that right there, to be honest, and we were outmanned a little bit up front. I think Ashland did a good job exploiting us up front, and one of their strengths is obviously running the football again and again and again. I think their quarterback only had, 16 pass attempts, something like that.
Yeah, he was 11 for 20 in the ball game, yeah.
11 for 20. So they don't ask him to do a whole lot.
No, well, Taylor's a very talented running back, and there's no question about that.
Well, he leads the conference, and, I know he also set a school record for the season. I think he rushed for 1,400 or –
Yeah, he needed 41 yards going into the game. He was at 14:54, if I remember correctly, and he had 41 yards he needed to get going into the game. And he ends up setting the Ashland School all-time record, and that's only a 10-game season, too.
Yeah.
So that speaks a lot about how talented that young man is.
No doubt, and they rely a lot on the run game. And, like I said, they did a good job, but – the thing I was proud about is I didn't feel like the team quit, because, with them getting 385 yards on the ground, I'm sitting there thinking we're never going to get the ball back, and, they're just going to run us off the clock here.
Yeah.
But, our kids did battle, and offensively we got out there in the third quarter and started getting something going, didn't finish any drives. But in the fourth quarter, I felt like Pipkin made a lot of stuff happen with his legs. Then we had Tyler Jones continue to make some big-time plays, and even Armstrong made a play down the field. So, it was good to see them going out there still competing. And, even during some timeouts, I had some receivers say, hey, Coach, this right here is open. Hey, make this call, Coach. I'm there. So it's good to hear the guys start telling you, hey, Coach, this is what I'm seeing. I need the football thrown to me right here because, I think the first half of the season at least, I don't know if Tony Shedd was really doing that. He's still figuring out the offense and, can he accomplish anything? And same thing with Armstrong, some of the guys. So, in this offense, we want guys who are saying, Coach, get me the ball. This is where I'm open. This is what I'm seeing. So, I was very proud of them for finishing strong, not giving up. And, we scored 23 straight points in the fourth quarter. And, I know Zach Baker asked me on the phone there Saturday night. He's like, well, it looked like y'all got something going when, they might have had their backups in. I said, Zach, no, it's not true.
No.
They didn't take their starters out.
No.
Meter came out the very last drive of the ball game.
Yeah, they did a couple of different seniors in the very last drive.
So,
but they kept them right in there.
Right, so it wasn't like we were going against their twos or threes by no means. So I was very proud of the guys finishing the game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the score on the scoreboard says. It's all about playing that next play, right? And that's good to see your receivers noticing what's open and relaying that information to you.
Well, and then I know you're fixed to go through some of the scoring drives, but the drive where Pipkin scrambles, 2 or 3 guys misses, and he dives from 6 or 7 yards out and hits the pylon. I mean, we're sitting there on the sidelines going, throw it away. Okay, great play. So, the young man can do some things that you just can't coach. But we got to mature him as a quarterback to understand that, look, it's good that, you're scoring and everything, but there's going to be times where instead of running 50, 60 yards side to side, picking up just 2 yards and taking a hit, throw the ball away and let's play the next play.
Absolutely. Well, as you said, Antonio had that 4-yard touchdown run. The next time the Dragons got on the board, Marcus Burham, a 5-yard pass from Antonio Pipkin, and did a little 2-point conversion play on that. And Jerry Brown got into the end zone to get you 2 on that drive, which took 6 plays and 55 yards and 2:08 off the clock.
Yeah, Marcus, we've been working on the route all week. Marcus did a great job of making a move and getting inside position on the corner there. And then that was a throw where Pipkin needed to hammer the ball in there because there was a tight window. So he made a great throw, great catch. Then, we decided to go for 2 right there, try to climb back into the game somehow. And, we run our muddle huddle where they don't adjust to it, and we got different calls. And, of course, we shuttle past it right there to, Jerry Brown, and it was an easy walk-in 2-point conversion.
And the final score for the Dragons, a 2-yard touchdown pass again from Antonio Pipkin, this time to Tony Shedd, who was on the program last weekend. And a 7-play, 55-yard drive at the 1:13 mark, and the final score of the ball game. And that drive only took 47 seconds. That's a pretty quick time for 7 plays.
Yeah, and that drive was set up by Armstrong making a nice catch downfield, and the ball was hung up there a little bit.
Yeah.
And because of the wind, and so he came back close to the ball, made a nice catch right there and setting it up. And then, we called a timeout and talked about it, and that's where, Tony was saying, hey, Coach, give me the ball right here on this play. I'm telling you, the corner's not covering it. And it was good to see that he called the play, and we threw it to him for a touchdown. And, when your kids start seeing plays where they should be open and can help make the calls during the middle of a game right there, then, in this offense with a high-paced tempo and listening to them sometimes on the sideline, they see it better than anybody else because they're actually the ones on the field. So
they get that from the coaching, right?
Yeah.
Well, you take a look at some of the numbers after the ball game. You said Tyler Jones was our Marco's Pizza player of the game with 8 catches for 136 yards. Brandon Person was our player of the game on the defensive side with the 15 tackles. Terry Harper chipped in with 10 as well. And Antonio, he had a few picks. We ended up with 3 touchdowns, 376 yards through the air, and 30 of 44, which completion percentage isn't that awful bad.
Yeah. Well, those stats are a little misconstrued right there because Tyler had 10 catches because 2 of the shuttle passes they counted as rushes.
Oh, okay.
And then same thing with Marcus Burham. His 1 shuttle pass they counted as a rush as well.
Oh, so he ended up with 9 catches then instead. Okay.
Right. So, but anyway, getting back to the quarterback, he was 70% completion percentage, which is really, really good, especially as a freshman. But the 3 turnovers hurt. And we got to learn how to protect the ball, which, I thought we did a good job early in the season and in the middle part of the season. But here in the last few weeks, we've been forcing a few throws we probably shouldn't have. And, maybe it's because we're trying to play catch up and make some big things happen. I don't know what the excuse is, but bottom line is we can't make those turnovers right there. We've got to protect the football. So.
Yeah, the turnovers combined with the penalties. That's most penalties in a game this year, 12 of them for a total of 87 yards. And that's a lot to overcome, especially when the other team only gets 3.
Well, it was 12-3, and, hey, Lee Owens has been in this conference for a long time. I guess he gets his due right there. But, the false start stuff, that's definitely us.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff, you can look at it either from our advantage or to theirs, I guess. But
well, we've got 1 more week left.
Yep.
Is it any different feel when it's the final week when you get the kids practice and everything, or does it just feel like another game week?
It is a little bit of a different feel.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Especially we wake up today and there's snow on the ground.
Yeah,
and we're doing a split practice today. Actually right now defense is in there practicing right now in the indoor facility.
The New Hampshire Center, absolutely.
We can't brag about that enough, but it is nice. We'll be inside practicing all week, and it's the last game for the seniors. Obviously, you want to send them out, feeling good and send them out with a victory. Last game of the season, you want to walk away with a win, so that way you go into the off season with some excitement, something to build on. So, it is a little bit different. We are treating it and preparing just like any other game, but the reality is this is our last game for quite some time.
Yeah.
And, playing 11 games a year, it just flies by. It seems like we just started the season the other day.
When you look at the numbers of just the scores of the games that Lake Erie's played in and some of the scores your guys' game, we're in for a shootout this week. I mean, they've had 3 games where the 2 totals were over 100 points. Last week, they fought Ohio Dominican 62-21. And you look at their previous 4 games, 63-41 victory, 48-27 loss, 55-50 loss, and a 48-21 victory. I mean, the lowest winning total in the games was Wayne State putting up 35. So this looks like there's going to be a lot of points scored.
Yeah, they're very dangerous offensively. Their quarterback is playing really good.
Brandon Gallagher, he's first in the conference in yards per game at 304 yards a game.
Well, then you got their running back, same thing. He's top of the conference in rushing yardage. Then they got a receiver that I think is a transfer from Indiana.
Tommy Jackson.
Told. Yeah, he's number 2 in the conference in reception. So, they got a lot of weapons on offense. They're very, very dangerous, but they've been averaging giving up 44 points a game as well. So, it's kind of I've been there. I've been part of that where you score a lot of points, you still don't win a whole lot of games because you're giving up too many. So, it's definitely interesting breaking them down because they are very dangerous. They scare you offensively. And then you look at how they've lost some games and you kind of scratch your head about how did that happen? So it will be a very interesting game Saturday without a doubt.
Yeah, it'll be entertaining for the for us in the booth and the folks in the stands, but for coaches seeing everything flying. I mean, it's gonna be a head scratch to make you. I don't know. It's just got to be a little frustrating sometimes. Just get a handle on one side of this.
Well, like I said, it's why we play the game. You never know what's going to happen without a doubt. We could get out there and expecting a 100-point total game. We might get out there and it might be a 10-point total game. Who knows? But they are a very dangerous football team. I do think they got a lot of weapons on offense. Defensively, they play really hard. They fly to the ball. So, you don't know. I really think this game is definitely about which team shows up.
Yeah.
It is still more about Tiffin than it is what Lake Erie does. If we go out there and we execute, we'll be fine.
Yep.
But if we go out there and we make some bad mistakes and they're executing, we're not going to be fine. So
this Saturday, 1 o'clock, final kickoff of the regular season for the Dragons. Hard to believe, I know. Well, make sure you tune into the game this coming Saturday on Coast Country 100.9. As we said, our pregame will start at 12:30. Kickoff will be at 1 o'clock. And I've seen Dustin Craig out there walking around, so let's go ahead and step aside, take a break, and we'll bring Dustin in here and talk to him, one of our student athletes here for our third segment. And then we'll talk to one more student athlete, Brandon Knight, as our final segment. So stick around. It's the Gary Goff Show here on the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network. Hello and welcome back to the Gary Goff Show here on the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network. Well, Coach, we talked about Ashland. We previewed Lake Erie. Now let's introduce one of your student athletes. Who you have with us tonight?
Yeah, we got Dustin Craig here. He's from Buckhannon High School in Michigan. Dustin's been our starting center for the last 3 years. Started every game for us. Kind of been one of the solid pieces of that.
That's a rarity at the offensive line.
Yeah, he might be the only person that everybody knows up there because everybody else is a revolving door. But Dustin, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, Dustin. So you're one of the few guys who have been able to remain healthy on that offensive line. And it's been you familiar with who's on your right and who's on your left on the offensive line?
At all times. Relatively healthy,
as healthy as can be.
We still piece him together a lot, too. So.
So what are you studying here at Tiffin University, Dustin?
I'm a accounting major and a hospitality minor.
Accounting major?
Yep.
You all right in the head? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
My goodness.
I'm all right.
Wow.
Too many hits.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that, do you know?
Not 100% sure what I want to do with it yet. I might want to coach for a little bit after college. I haven't really decided yet. I'm going to see what my options are and look into that a little
There you go.
further.
So you like to mess with numbers, huh?
Yeah.
Be a statistician one day, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Well, tell us, you're from Niles, Michigan. Is that the hometown?
Yep, from Niles, Michigan.
Okay, what's the pathway that got you to Tiffin to be a Dragon?
My recruiting coach, Coach Oliver, he was a real nice guy, and he came, said, hey, we want you to come play for us, and I didn't really have too many offers from anywhere else, and looked like a nice spot to land. I knew Joe Collard.
Mm-hmm.
He's a D-end here, senior, and we have a little past with wrestling.
We've mentioned that before on the show.
Oh yeah.
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 So okay, who had the better of the other one in the wrestling? Let's see if your story adds up with everybody else's.
It's obviously me. We're 1-1 right now, but the last time we wrestled, I beat him. So, I guess
that gives you the tiebreaker.
Yeah, the belt lies with me right now.
Nice. Well, Coach, tell us a little bit about what Dustin brings to your offensive line.
Well, I tell you what, he's kind of like the quarterback up there.
Yeah.
He handles all the protections for us. He'll flip it if he sees a safety roll down or back or walk down. Especially with a freshman quarterback, he's helped a lot right there too.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of. He's in many cases he comes off the field and he's coaching everybody on what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, they're doing this or twisting here. Here's what's going on, coach, and then we can make the adjustments. But many times he's a few steps ahead. Even say, hey, coach, here's what they're doing. We need to take the protection this way. So, he brings that to us. Obviously now he started every game the last 3 years. So, game reps something you can't replace. I always preach that, and he's going to be somebody that he's going to be hard to beat out just because he's played played so much, and he knows the offense.
Yeah, it brings some different challenges for you up there on the offensive line, knowing that you got all these true freshmen playing in the backfield. I mean, does it make you feel like you got to step your game up just a little bit more to give them that a little bit extra time?
I mean, not really. I mean, at the O-line position, you don't really pay too much to what's happening behind you.
It's just a box.
Everything looks the same when you're up front. I mean, it doesn't really matter who's back there. You're just worried about your job and working together with the guy next to you.
And then you're playing against some pretty talented people here in the GLIAC Conference, some very tough defensive linemen to go up
over
against.
The years.
What was the biggest adjustment when you came out of high school into college? Was it the size of the guys, the speed of the guys, the technique?
It's really everything. I mean, it's everybody's bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. I mean, I come in here at 18 years old playing against some 22, 23-year-olds that, have 4 years to get bigger, faster, and stronger than me and have had game reps that, that I've never seen before. I mean, I remember coming in my first game, I was just kind of terrified. I got after the first drive, I was like, this isn't too bad. But, I mean, going into that first drive of my first game, I remember, it was a good experience.
But took banging heads a couple times to get you into the flow of the game.
It's just football, right?
It's just football.
Yeah. Justin, if people looked at your picture here in the program, but they wouldn't recognize you when they look at you now.
Yeah.
Buzzed haircut, letting it go out there now.
That's the offensive line little deal issue. They call it the dirty flow.
The dirty flow.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
So you here at Tiffin University, you say you're studying accounting as well. Talk to me about on the football field. Where do you think you have improved the most from when you got here to where you're at now?
I'd have to say that, my vision of the field. When I first got here, I just knew where I was supposed to take the protection, when I was supposed to do it. But now I can see, I can really see where, how the defense is playing, where they're playing. I read the safeties, see where they're playing in relation to the corners, and it's really helped out. I think being able to flip the protection, like Coach Goff said, and take it to where I think the blitz or the pressure's coming from. I mean, other than that, I have gotten bigger, faster, stronger since high school, and it's like now I got 18-year-olds coming in and playing against me, and now I'm the big.
You're the intimidator.
Yeah, I'm the intimidator now. So,
well, I tell you what, I think it's helped a lot too by us gaining Coach Picard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Coach Picard knows his offensive line play. He's kind of funny. We actually need to do some type of documentary on Coach Picard.
Oh my gosh, yes, that'd be hilarious.
He when you see him, he's my size. You just think, he coaches receivers or something like that. And when you hear him coach and talk, now he sounds like he's about 70 years old and he can bite your head off.
Yes.
But he does know the X's and O's up front. He's helped us a lot. I think he's helped the offensive line understand the game. Beyond just, okay, I'm supposed to be here and that's who I'm supposed to block. Yeah. So I think that's been a big improvement for us up front.
When you're having a center being able to notice everything that's going on there on the offense or on the defensive side of the ball, it's just so something I think the novice football fan really doesn't know. They're watching on TV, they say I'm pointing around. They probably don't really know everything that's going on, but boy, it's important that center knows what's going on.
Well,
defensive side of the ball.
Offensively, two most important positions are the quarterback and center, without a doubt. And playing offensive line is tough, because you're in the trenches and you're hitting every down.
Oh gosh.
But it's also tough in the aspect of you don't get a whole lot of praise.
No.
I mean,
the only time they say your numbers when there's a yellow flag laying behind
exactly.
you.
There's not many news reporters that want to, hey, can I talk to your center after the game, coach?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't. Nobody pays attention to them until, like you said, they give up a sack or something, a holding penalty. But you got to give credit to those guys, because, especially our guys this year, because we have kind of been like a band of brothers. There's only been a handful of us. We got a lot of guys playing out of position. We got, I think, almost the entire offensive line is guards right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we really challenged those guys the last few weeks. Obviously, me running the offense myself, I was very, very upset with how we've played offensively the last few weeks. So we challenged them last week, and I think they responded. They did a really good job up front. Now, as a coach, are we ever really happy? No. Even after wins, we think, we can do this better.
Sure.
So can we still improve up front from last week to this week? Without a doubt. But I was very happy with how those guys battled up front last week. And like I said, they don't get that attention. They don't get the praise very much.
Yeah.
And, sometimes even me as the coach, I'm like, you know what, I need to love on those guys some because they did a good job right here.
Yeah.
Other weekends, I can't wait to get in there and get a hold of those offensive linemen. So it's a tough position to play. It really is.
Absolutely. And final regular season week here upon us. Is it? What's your emotions like going into this final game? Because it's your last time on the field this year.
Yeah.
And want to go out with that W. I mean, is it the preparation a little different for you on the players' side of it?
Yeah, a little bit. I think everybody's working a little bit harder because we really want to send these seniors out with a win. I mean, they've worked too long and too hard not to finish out the season, on a positive note.
You looking forward to being that senior leader next year?
Oh, definitely. Looking forward to stepping in and filling that position.
I mean, have you ever seen anything like what's gone through the offensive line has gone through this year and last year?
And my freshman year. I mean, all 3 years that I've been here, I mean, it's been so thin. I mean, we start off strong, but I mean, an injury here, a player, and before you know it, you're down to a group of 7.
Yeah, I mean, heart goes out to Gage Gorman just because the man has really worked hard to get back 2 years in a row, and we're going to miss him, but I think he wants to coach and be around a little bit. But it'll be nice to get Max Paulin back next year.
Yep.
We're obviously going to have to recruit some more in that position right there and add some more depth, a lot more depth. So that way, if we do have an injury, hey, the next man's got to be ready. So,
well, it does feel good going into next year, knowing that you have a returning 3-year starter or a 4-year starter at the center position when you're filling the rest of that.
Well, at center, and then Rinker's going to be back as a junior now. Marcello Brown will be back as a junior. Max will be back as a redshirt sophomore. So we'll have some more depth. Noble will be back as a sophomore who's played. So
Lepe back as a senior.
Yeah, so we will have some depth, but boy, those injuries hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
All right, Coach, anything else for Mr. Craig here before we let him go?
No, Dustin's done a great job. Got a great family. His dad's one of our biggest supporters. He's always there with smiles and lots of encouragement for all of us. And, we're very happy to have him. And, I can't wait to have him again next year as a senior leader on that offensive line for us.
I think it was your dad I met at the game. It was there at Walsh at Malone last year, and he's the one that first told me about the wrestling matches between you and Joe. So give him our best. Hope we'll get a chance to see him again sometime. Dustin, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate you having me.
His name's Dustin Craig. He wears number 65 for the Dragons, and he's the starting center, 3-year starter for the Tiffin University Dragons in the offensive line, with a few who've been able to stay on the field, and hopefully we'll keep him out there for another full season after this one as well. Let's step aside and take a break and come back with one more student athlete. Coach, who's coming on next?
We have Brandon Knight coming on next. He's one of our kickers, and unique young man from a long way away. It's kind of going to be curious to how he fell into our lap.
Yeah, well, let's talk to him here in just a moment. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network. Welcome back to the final segment of the final regular season for the Gary Goff Show here on the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network. Well, Coach, we talked to Dustin Craig. Now who do we have with us?
We have Brandon Knight from Astoria, Oregon. And
Oregon.
Oregon, yeah. And Brandon, I tell you what, he's only going to be a junior, but he's about to graduate. He's probably going to move on with his career. He's been a pleasure to have around the program, a lot of fun, and he's actually been like another coach for me on the field for the last 2 years at practice, really. And, so we're going to miss him. And, Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate being on.
Well, thanks for joining us, Brandon. Coach mentioned you're from Oregon, and interesting story on how does a young man in Astoria, Oregon end up being a Dragon at Tiffin University?
Well, funny story. I started kicking my sophomore year. I had the brand new it's actually kind of funny. I had brand new Michael Vicks on, and I was sitting out on the practice field one day, and my buddy goes, "Hey, I'm moving up to varsity this year. You gotta kick JV." And I said, "No, I've never kicked in my life before." So he taught me up, and worked with him all through high school, and we became really good friends. Max Johnson is his name. He actually is kicking at New Mexico State now, and I was just looking to try to play somewhere and looking around everywhere. Couldn't really figure out where to go and what to do. And next thing you know, I hear about this little Tiffin University in Ohio. And I said, "Oh, why not? I'll try to see what happens." And I talked to Coach Wilcox, actually, before he left, and talked to him, and I said, yeah, I'd love to come try out and all that. And he said, cool. And I said, all right, I'll be out there in my spring break. I think I kind of surprised him with that. And he said, oh, okay. So flew out here with my dad, tried out on the field, and met Coach Eisen as well. And he said, we'd really like you to come back. And I said, cool, ship me my letter of intent, and I'll sign today. So,
Coach Wilcox can sell ice to an Eskimo anyway, right?
Exactly. Crazy thing is now he's in Oregon, so we switched places there.
So you had no familiarity at Tiffin University. How did you find out about it?
Really, it was just at first it was the old coaches had sent me some information on it. I was just trying to look to play anywhere, and I tried a couple other colleges and around the West Coast, but they first that was where I first got attracted to Tiffin, and then next thing you know, I'm here, and I was like, oh, well, I got to re-recruit myself out to the new coaches, and so I did, and I guess I looked good enough on paper and in person that they wanted me back. So.
Well, here you are.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt. Well, what are you majoring in?
Homeland Security is my major, so it's definitely been an interesting road.
And you did an internship last summer.
Yep, down at the Advanced Technical Intelligence Center down in Dayton with Dr. Tim Shaw. So that was quite an experience by far. So
I imagine.
The job or Tim Shaw?
Both. Interesting man. Wise as could be though.
Funny story about Tim Shaw. He was on. He was here at Tiffin University. He was our dean at the Criminal Justice Department, and he was on the committee that interviewed me during the job process. And so I'm doing my research too on who's going to be talking to me, who's going to be interviewing me. Okay, I know, Lonnie Allen, Dr. Marion. I went down the line and see Tim Shaw. So I get on and Google him, start reading about him, and I see that he's got 25 years experience in the FBI.
Oh, wow.
He was an expert in Homeland Security, and so I remember looking over to my wife going, wow, this could be interesting.
Yeah, no doubt.
It could be like, Meet the Parents, where he's hooking me up to a lie detector and
in a secret room.
Yeah, exactly. But the interview with him was great because he's a good guy, laid-back guy, and we talked about John Wayne and Elvis more than we did football. So.
Well, sounds like a great guy to have an internship with what you're studying.
Very much. He was, like I said before, he's the wisest guy I've ever met in that respect.
Second.
Second, of course, second. Yeah, Coach Goff. I don't know. He might have him on the Homeland Security stuff, but no, he nicest guy in the world. And when I told him I was a football player, and he actually ended up finding me a field to go kick at while I was there,
nice.
where I could go work out at. So he really helped me out when I was down there. So.
What do you hope to do with your degree when you graduate? Well, you're graduating early, you said, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll
That's
be graduating actually after the semester. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm looking around. If I would love to try to continue football. That's been my passion, and I've worked so hard over the last 3 years. I feel like that I would love to have a shot up at the next level if I can never find a shot. I guess this is the next step. But after that, well, guess we'll see what happens. I probably couldn't tell you if I told you if I got a job anyways.
To be young and have options in front of you, Coach.
Exactly.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So what do you prefer more, the kicking side, punting side?
Preferably kicking. I came in as a preferably punter, and then Coach Eisen flipped me to kicker and then flipped me back, and now I'm doing scout team punt, but I love kicking anyway, so I prefer anything they really throw me into. So
Talk a little bit about Coach Eisen. Working with him.
Oh goodness, he's a goofy guy. That's for sure. I think I've only seen him really serious at our group of kickers maybe once. But
sit in front of him in the press box and you'll see he's serious.
Yeah. I bet. No, he's a great guy. He's just a big comedian really, and he really knows his X's and O's. That's the big thing is he knows what to look for. He coaches hard. He coaches well. He gets on us every once in a while, but I wouldn't venture to guess of who else I would rather have as a special teams coach rather than Coach Eisen.
That's awesome.
Well, see, Brandon, we give him the script every day as well. So he pretty much helps us offensively in the script. And he's gotten pretty good. He'll even catch a few things. Hey, Coach, are we supposed to be on this hash? Or I don't think we want to run that play on that hash. And I'm like, no, you're probably right.
Nice.
So, he might have a future even coaching if he wants to at some point.
Sounds like a good football IQ.
Right.
So I see here you won a state championship in high school as a junior. That'd be a pretty exciting time.
Oh, definitely. We came off my freshman year. We were a 10-0 team going into the playoffs, lost in the first round. My sophomore year was kind of a rebuilding year, so we we were kind of down and out. We didn't make it to the playoffs. And my junior year, we had a quarterback by the name of Jordan Poyer. You'll see his name. He actually plays for the Cleveland Browns now as a safety.
Oh, wow.
He played as our quarterback and a defensive back, and we gelled so well. I mean, all of us had been playing basketball, baseball, football, soccer. We played everything growing up as a kid together, and next thing you know, we're sitting at Reser Stadium where the Beavers play.
Oklahoma State, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're sitting there at Reser, and we're like, oh my goodness, we're playing for the state championship right now. And it was what an experience, and I didn't believe it at first, but you really don't get the shock until you get right back in your hometown after you won the state championship. It really didn't hit us at all, and then all of a sudden we had a line of about 25 cars following us back to the high school and everything, and we went to the local Fultano's Pizza is what it's called. It's a big thing back home, and watched the game on TV and whatnot, and we were just, wow, can't believe we just did that.
I never had a chance to experience anything like that in high school. I just think that would be so much fun.
I was the lucky one, but no, it was amazing. I really can't even describe it in words still.
Is it a big football community back in your hometown?
Oh, yeah. Actually, more baseball now.
Really?
Baseball, the last 5 years, I think we've won 3 state championships. So we've started to jump up. But that was the first football state championship in our town, and we're one of the oldest high schools in Oregon. So that was a big deal back home for us. So.
Well, we had punter Seth Pico on the program recently. Makes you chuckle. Tell us a little bit about Seth and about your guys' – because the punters and kickers kind of hang together.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a little bit of camaraderie there. Tell us a little bit about some of the guys that's part of your crew there, I guess.
All right. Well, we'll start with Seth. You know, he's my coast brother is what we call it. East Coast meets West Coast in the middle of Ohio, in the middle of a
the heart of it all, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we have a lot of similarities. It's scary how similar we are just by, living by the coast and whatnot. But great guy, fun as heck to hang out with when you're outside of football, is willing to do whatever, and all of a sudden he'll get an idea in his head and bang, we'll just be doing that. So I'm trying to think who else. We got Tomislav Drezic. He's just the funniest kid in the world. He has some of the weirdest voices you'll ever hear. He goes from, scary and can get mean to all of a sudden just like super,
cartoonish.
Yeah, super almost girly, as I could say. It gets quite interesting. We have Dominic Giovanni. That kid is a firecracker. I'm telling you, you can get him going on anything, and he's an awesome guy to be around. Really, again, he's much like Seth. We'll go ahead and do whatever. We have JJ Frisman and Ross Snodgrass, 2 freshmen on the team.
The char breaking in, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, Ross is a good guy. He's got a big leg and all that, and he's always chuckling, always laughing, always joking. JJ, we made him, I guess, the scapegoat in some ways. So we'll pick on him a little bit, but it's all fun. I mean, we're all just a bunch of brothers. You'll see us hanging out. I mean, we're playing intramural bowling together every Thursday night, like playing basketball.
Is the team named the Kickers on the back of y'all's bowling shirts?
No, it's the Flintstones. It's me, Seth, and Dustin here actually playing on the team, and we hurt a couple people's feelings, picking that team, but
because everybody thinks they can bowl, right?
Oh, totally. No, it's a fun group. I'm telling you, we all get together, we all have a great time, we all make fun of each other and make new games and do new things, and it's just really it's a brotherhood. That's the best way how to put it right there.
Well, it seems like the young man came from Oregon, is really enjoying his time here at Tiffin University, Coach.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, anything else for him before we let him go?
Yeah, did anything happen after the game a few weeks ago?
Oh, well, I proposed to my girlfriend after 2 years, and
I'm assuming she said yes.
Well, actually, she dug her face into my shoulder at first and didn't give me an answer, and I had to say
so you panicked?
Yeah, maybe a little panic. Well, the funny thing was when I asked her dad, I kind of surprised him too, and he said, "I guess so" at first. So that was kind of a little scary moment for me. But no, she eventually said yes, so we're engaged to be married, which is very nice. And
young lady you met here? Or?
Yes, actually.
Wow.
Yep. So I came here to play football, then found a girl, and love school.
That's how it happens.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, Coach. I had no idea. Wow. All right. Well, now anything else for him before we let him go, Coach? How do we know about that one?
No, we're going to miss him. We've had a lot of fun together. He works hard for us. And, like you said, all those kickers are characters. And I see Coach Ison walking right down the hallway right now, and he'll be mad when he hears what Brandon said about it.
There you go.
Well, Brandon, congratulations on the success in the classroom, being a part of this football team, and on your recent engagement, man. It sounds like you've got the future bright in front of you, so congratulations on everything, and keep up the great work. It's a pleasure
having you. For having me on. Appreciate it.
He's number 96. Name's Brandon Knight. He's kicker punter on the Tiffin University Dragon football team. Coach, final game this Saturday up at Lake Erie College, and like we said earlier, it's just hard to believe that it's here already, and it's going to be important to walk out the field with feeling good about something for this season, but also for next season too.
Oh, without a doubt. This game is going to be huge for us. Like I said, they're a very talented team. They've obviously got their problems as well, but it's going to be more about who goes out there and really wants the game. It's going to be if we go out there and give it our all and execute, we'll be fine. If we go out there and go through the motions and don't execute, we won't be fine because they're very dangerous. They scored a lot of points this year.
It's like it might be a race to 50.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at
first one
numbers.
there gets it.
Yeah. Well, let's thank our sponsors tonight. Our title sponsors are the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, and CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office. Our other sponsors include Steyer Seeds, Tiffany's Hardware, Ralph's Joy of Living, Marco's Pizza, the Pioneer Mill Restaurant in Tiffin, Seneca Hills Golf Club, State Farm Insurance, and Viewpoint Graphics. And, Coach, we'll get together next week and do a wrap-up show. Then we'll be off for a while. Yep. So thank you all who are tuned in on the radio. Thanks to all of you who are watching on YouTube. And thanks to all of you who are watching on Channel 10 right here in Tiffin. For Gary Goff and for our two student athletes, I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons, saying thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, and go Dragons right here on the Tiffin University Dragon Radio Network.